Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about ways that we save money as a family of 4 and different things that we do not buy or we try to avoid buying. And so I hope this video can be helpful to you guys. I know that it can be a struggle out there, especially once you start having kids, to save money. It feels like it can be so hard sometimes. And so these are just little things that we do that make a really big difference in our financial situation and just how we are able to have kids and still save money at the same time. So thank you for watching, and again, I hope you enjoy this video, and I'm gonna get right on into it. So I just wanna preface this by saying that this is what we try to avoid buying at some point in our lives. We have obviously bought all of these things probably, but just as a general rule, we try to avoid buying these things, and it really does help us save money. So I just wanted to preface that. I know that everyone's situation is different, but just in general, we try to avoid these things. So the first thing that we do not buy is name brands. And what I mean by this, generally speaking, is when we're buying groceries, it is so much cheaper to buy the store brand than to buy the name brand of the food item that you're looking for. And they typically always have the same ingredients, but they are so significantly cheaper. So we actually buy a lot of our groceries from Walmart. And so when we do that, we always look for the store brand when we're searching the item that we're looking for. And you wouldn't think it, honestly, but it makes such a big difference at the end of even just a month. And those little like dollar differences, $2 differences between the store brand and the name brand really start to add up. So this is something that I would recommend just trying to do, like be more conscious of it when you're buying groceries, or honestly when you're buying like tons of different things. Look for the store version of what you are buying, and I promise you will start to see a difference in how much money it adds up to. The second thing that we try to avoid buying is fast food. And so obviously, like, there are times when we eat out and we don't cook at home, but majority of the time we really try to avoid it. Even if you're going to like one of the cheapest fast food places, when you have kids or you're a family of however many, it adds up at the end of it. And it's like 2 of us, we have a toddler who eats a lot of food now. So even if you go to the cheapest fast food place, you can't really get away with spending like at least $10 and up. And I feel like for $10 you can make a pretty decent meal at home. So it honestly just starts to add up after a while, especially if you're eating out multiple times a week, fast food, like that adds up at the end of the week. So we really try to avoid this. We try to cook at home as much as possible. Also, it's just better for you. You know what you're putting into your food at home. And overall, it's just a huge money saver. So I would highly recommend trying this. Number 3 kind of goes with the whole eating out thing, but we really try to avoid buying our coffees out. I think it is so absurd how much a cup of coffee costs. Like if you go to Starbucks, you're spending at least, for me personally, like $8 where we live on a cup of coffee. And I just think that is insane. So we make our coffee at home. Honestly, I've gotten my coffee so down at this point that I prefer to make it at home because it tastes better to me than going out to Starbucks. But it's such a huge money saver. Like if you're buying a coffee out every day during the week, that's like minimum $20 a week that you're spending on coffee. And I know that it can be so enjoyable to go out and get a coffee. Like it's a whole experience. I'm so right there with you. But it is so much better to make it more of like a treat thing. Like if we go out sometimes on the weekend as a family, like I'll grab a coffee. But for the most part, we avoid doing that. We make our coffee at home because 1, it tastes better to me personally, and 2, it is such a money saver. Like I truly cannot believe how much coffee costs. I could just like ramble on about that because I think it's insane. So that's something that if that's your thing, getting coffee out, maybe just try like cut down to only doing it like 2 times a week or 3 times a week or whatever it is that you want to do. And you will definitely see a difference in your bank account, I promise. Another kind of like random thing that we don't purchase, but I do think is a big money saver, is buying those big cases of plastic water bottles. I know growing up as a kid, like my family always bought those and we would have to rebuy them so often because you go through water bottles like a bunch of times in a day. And they're so expensive and they're also terrible for the environment, obviously. They're plastic water bottles. So we do not buy those at all. We have our like tried and true water bottles around the house. I have my Stanley that I love. And we just get the like however many gallon bottles and we fill them up at the water store like once, twice a month. And it's so much cheaper than buying those cases of plastic water bottles. So that's another thing that, like, if you're super into that, maybe just try cutting down and we'll probably see a difference in how much money you're spending. The next thing that we do not purchase is toys for our children. Now, I will say our children do have toys in the house that they play with that we did not personally buy them. They have wonderful grandparents and family in their life that has bought toys for them. But we personally do not have never bought toys for our kids. I have a 1.5-year-old and I can think of maybe like one toy I've bought for her entire life. And that's because honestly, and this is different for everyone, but my daughter just wants to be outside. That's where she spends the majority of her day. She's so good at independent play, like she will just sit out there for hours and play with rocks and sticks, and that's her favorite thing in the world, as opposed to coming inside and playing with toys. Like she really could not care less about toys. So that's something that I feel like has saved us so much money over the past couple of years because toys are super expensive, especially if you want to get well-made ones and ones that like don't have chemicals and aren't like plastic and stuff. They can really add up. So try to limit, if you have kids, the amount of toys you're purchasing for them. I feel like it makes a huge difference. And for the most part, I feel like kids can make toys out of anything. I feel like our kids probably play with like 5% of the toys that they have in the house, and the rest of the time they're just like running around making toys out of the most random stuff. So that's something that has been, I think, a big saver for us since having kids, is not buying them a bunch of toys. The next thing that we do not buy is cable. I feel like this might be actually common for a lot of people nowadays because of all the streaming services. But yeah, we don't purchase cable. We've never had cable. There's nothing that we would really want to watch on cable. We try not to watch too much TV anyway, but just in general, everything that we do want to watch is on a streaming service, which we get from like our friends and family and stuff. So cable, I feel like isn't super necessary, like especially for my generation. It's just not really needed, and there's so many other options that are so much cheaper than purchasing cable per month. So that's something to think about as well. The next thing that we do not purchase, I don't know, this might be a little controversial, is that we do not purchase any new cars. We have never purchased a new car. Before I got married, I had 2 cars and they were so old. One was like a 98. Actually, hold on. Let me re-say that. Before I got married, I had 2 cars and they were both super, super old cars and really cheap, but like they were tried and true and they lasted me a long time. They were awesome cars. And I feel like that is a common thing, that if you have an older car, I feel like if you have the right kind of car, like it's gonna last you a long time. But since we've been married as well, we do not purchase any new cars. We kind of just have like our beater car and it's awesome and it works for us, and we save so much money with leases and car payments and like all that stuff. So that is something I feel like is huge, is purchasing these new items that end up just like cutting into your monthly budget so much and just really aren't super necessary. So that's another thing to think about if you are in the market for purchasing a new car. Maybe look for one that's a couple years older or a used car or something like that, and I feel like that is a huge saver. The last thing that I want to mention that we do not purchase is subscription services. Now, I will say we do have one subscription service, and that is to Prime. And I feel like if you have kids, Prime is honestly just like a lifesaver. There's so many, I'm like up in the middle of the night so many times, like ordering stuff that's coming the next morning for my baby. So that's one thing that we actually use and like kind of need to a degree. We could go without it, but it's just nice to have. But we don't have any other subscription services. Like I said, as far as like streaming services go and stuff, we kind of just use our friends or our families, which I feel like a lot of people do as well. And then other than that, there's nothing that we need to have on a subscription basis that is necessary for us. So I feel like I have friends and stuff who it's like they have subscriptions to so many different things and it eats away their money every month. And that's just crazy to me because I feel like in the day and age we live in now, it's more of just like a convenience thing where these subscription services are just convenient to have, but they're not necessary. And so if you're looking to budget and you're looking to save money, you have a family, I feel like this is something that you can cut out that will end up being so helpful later on. So it's just something to consider. So just going along with all of those things that I mentioned, like some just easy ways that we like to save money, is just buying secondhand, thrifting. That's like huge. I feel like you can save so much money by thrifting and secondhand. We have not purchased anything for our second child yet, minus like a couple basic things, because we either just reused everything from our first, or we buy things secondhand. We go to like baby resale stores, thrift stores, stuff like that. That's huge. It makes a big difference because particularly baby items are very expensive. And so if you're buying new constantly, it is gonna add up for sure. And so that's something I would recommend to save money, is just looking secondhand, thrifting. I love thrifting so much. It's one of my favorite things because you can find gems in there. You just have to look really hard. So that is a couple things that we do to help us save money. And I feel like they really do end up helping us out in the end. And then going along with all of that, I feel like dupes are such a huge thing that not a lot of people really know about. Like, I am so passionate about finding dupes for things. I feel like Amazon usually has really good dupes for like these name brand things, and you can find something that is exactly the same, has like the same ingredients, or is made with the same material, like all of that stuff for so much cheaper. It just doesn't have like that name brand logo on it. So I'm a big proponent of dupes. I think if you're looking for something, try to find like a cheaper version of it first, and I feel like that will end up being super helpful to you. I know it's been helpful for us. It's something that I do all the time. I'm always looking for if I need something that's like more on the expensive side, and I just think it's a great way to save money. So I would also try that if you are looking to save money or budget. So those were all of my ways that we try to save money. Hold on, let me outro that one more time. So those are all of my ways that we try to save money, the things that we try to avoid purchasing. I really hope that this video helped you out. I hope that you can kind of take some things from it and apply it to yourself if you are looking to save money for your family. And please like, comment down below if you enjoyed this video, if you like seeing videos like this, and please subscribe if you want to. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.